Good afternoon. I'm Don Fry, President and CEO of the Greater Baltimore Committee, and welcome to the 44th Annual Mayor's Business Recognition Awards Luncheon. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to join us today. I'd like to offer our special thanks to the Baltimore Development Corporation for joining with the Greater Baltimore Committee in sponsoring this luncheon. A special thanks goes to Joanne Logan and Nancy Jordan Howard, who are seated one of these front row seats for us of the Baltimore Development Corporation, and also Lisa Bird and Liz Lowe of the GBC for their service on the selection committee. Dozens of nominations are received, and reviewing and judging those nominations is a very difficult job, but they did a tremendous job doing so fairly and objectively. Each year, the Greater Baltimore Committee and the Baltimore Development Corporation join with the mayor to recognize businesses, large and small, that have demonstrated community leadership and service to improve the quality of life for many Baltimoreans. Today's event is a yearly highlight for the Greater Baltimore Committee, the Mayor's Office, and BDC as we honor those outstanding business leaders and their companies and organizations. I'd like to thank and recognize those companies who provided sponsorship for today's program. Their support and assistance is critical to the success of our programs and events. Our ambassador sponsor, Baltimore Development Corporation. There you go. Our signature sponsors, AT&T. Yeah, you guys started something now. Baltimore Business Journal, BGE, Legg Mason Global Asset Management, University of Maryland Medical System, Whiting Turner Contracting Company. Our patron sponsors, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kaiser Permanente, Johns Hopkins Medicine, Loyola University Maryland, and VPC Inc., who's the producer of today's show, and our exhibit sponsors, the Daily Record and Southwest Airlines, the official airlines of the GBC. Please join me in giving all of our sponsors and supporters a round of applause. Before we move on with our program, today is a solemn day as the country joins in a day of mourning on the passing of a great American patriot and leader. Please join me in a moment of silence as we remember and honor President George H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States. Thank you. Businesses are traditionally measured by a range of business metrics: the profitability of the company, the growth rate of the company, number of employees, or the company's economic impact on the state, region, or city. Today's program rewards companies by a different metric. The Mayor's Business Award highlights companies and organizations whose leaders are not focused solely on the bottom line, but those that acknowledge that contributing to the community and providing service outside their business's core mission is vital to the success, health, and morale of the city and of the people who live in Baltimore. The Mayor's Business Recognition Award honors those seated on the stage today for their civic leadership and for recognizing that it's equally important for business to leverage their financial and human resources to positively impact the challenges facing many of the citizens of Baltimore City. Those before you today and the companies and organizations they represent are exemplary corporate and business citizens. They've made community service and civic commitment part of the fabric of their mission. This year, the Greater Baltimore Committee and BDC received a large number of excellent nominations of companies that stepped up to show their commitment to Baltimore City and its citizens. The companies and organizations that you see before you were selected as the recipients of the 2018 Mayor's Business Recognition Award. Later, you'll hear about the work of these award winners. Perhaps more than anything else, you'll see that these companies, their CEOs and employees saw an opportunity and felt a responsibility to make a difference in the future of our city, and in many cases, the young people in our community. They took on this work because they wanted to make a contribution. After lunch, we'll honor their outstanding work and their commitment for a better Baltimore. When you see and hear of their efforts, I'm convinced that you'll agree that regardless of their size, they have gone that extra mile to give back to make Baltimore a better place to live and work. But first, before we have lunch and honor our award recipients, I'd like to introduce the 2018 Mayor's Business Recognition Award recipients and the special guests who are seated at the head table. At this time, I'd ask our special platform guests and recipients to stand up when I first introduce you. Paul Taberzi, Senior Partner, DLA Piper, Chair of the Greater Baltimore Committee. Of course, the Honorable Catherine Pugh, Mayor of the City of Baltimore. Bill Cole, President and CEO, Baltimore Development Corporation. Augie Shishira, Regional President of Greater Baltimore, Chesapeake Region, M&T Bank, and Chair of Baltimore Development Corporation, also a member of the GBC Board. At this time, it's my honor to introduce the award recipients who are behind me. First, Christopher Schaefer Clothier. Holly O'Shea, Future Care Health and Management. Beth Brainerd, Hotel Revival. Erica Jernigan, Lexi's Little Bug. Brian White, LifeBridge Health. Father Brian Linane, Loyola University, Maryland. Steve Pomplin with Notre Dame Preparatory School. Will Backstrom, PNC Bank. Skip Councilman, RC M&D. Heather Darney, the Baltimore Ravens. Dr. Jay Perman, University of Maryland, Baltimore. And Dan Jarris, WBAL TV 11, Channel 11. Again, please join me in giving all of our recipients and special guests a round of applause. GBC is very proud to co-sponsor this yearly awards presentation with the Baltimore Development Corporation, our city's economic development agency. We know the BDC works hard to encourage companies to remain and expand their operations in Baltimore City and to attract new businesses to locate within the city limits. The work of the BDC is critical to the economic growth and job creation of our city. They do a great job. Please join me in thanking the BDC for all of it does for the city of Baltimore and the business community. At this time, we're going to do some special drawings. We have some e-passes for Southwest Airlines. We're going to draw 2 winning names, and each winner will receive 2 one-way passes. So I'm on two one-way passes, not one pass. I'm going to let Bill Cole be the popular person here. Laurie Hooley, Future Care. Have you come up and one more? Eric Collier. Eric? Our thanks to Southwest for their generosity and support of GBC's programming. Anyone who knows Mira Pugh knows that her commitment to the city of Baltimore is unrivaled. She's the founder of Baltimore Design School, a public school for 6th through 12th grade students, as well as a founder of the Baltimore Marathon, which is now in its 18th year of operation. She served on the boards of the University of Maryland Medical System, Council of State Governments, and president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, to name just a few. During her tenure as mayor, Mayor Pugh has placed a heightened emphasis on setting a comprehensive agenda for the city's approach to policing and crime. She's launched a daily crime reduction strategy meeting with office officials from across the city's government departments and agencies, stressing that crime reduction is her top priority and is not only the responsibility for the police department, but the entire city government. Through this and other efforts, there was an overall reduction in violence of 23% in the first half of 2018. In addition, Mayor Pugh has continued her advocacy for economic development, small businesses, rebuilding Baltimore's neighborhoods, youth programs, and an effective public school system. As a business owner herself, Mayor Pugh has a unique appreciation and perspective for the role that private sector can play in making our neighborhoods and communities stronger and safer. Today or tomorrow actually represents the midpoint of her first term. So please join me in welcoming Baltimore's 50th Mayor, Mayor Catherine Pugh.
Before I get started, before you sit down, can I please present you, Don, with this mayoral salute for the Greater Baltimore Committee. Next year, we'll make sure they put your name on it. Okay. Let me acknowledge, I believe that former Mayor Stephanie Rawlins Blake is here. Give her a round of applause. Thank you for being here. So I walked into the conference room this afternoon, and they said, you know, you got to tape this video. And so when I usually tape it in the ceremonial room. So I'm like, I'm walking in the ceremonial room, no cameras. I'm like, what? Because I'm one of these people, if you say it's here, it better be here. And so they said, no, it's in the executive conference room, so surprise, you're at the midpoint. I was like, wow, every day seems like the same day to me. But I have certainly enjoyed doing this work, and I tell folks I take this work very seriously. I'll never forget, Don, when I walked into my first finance meeting and everybody turned around and somebody said, oh, like, what is she doing here? I take it really seriously. It is important that you understand the finances of your city. And we've made some tremendous changes, but I also believe, and I've said this all along, Bill, that it is important that the next mayor build on what the previous mayor did, and more importantly, you don't disband everything, you figure out how you improve. That is what I would want for the person who follows me, and I'm sure my colleagues would want the same for me. And so I did a lot of studying prior to becoming mayor, and I laid out 5 different pillars, things that I wanted to do, things that I was focused on. And reducing violence, of course, was my #1 priority. And I can tell you that it is, as whenever I see Mr. Bloomberg, this is what he does, Chair. He kisses me on one side, and then he kisses me on the other. There'll be 30 mayors, and he'll say, but you have the toughest job in America. And I said to him, the good news is that I want to be the mayor of Baltimore. The bad news is it's the only thing I want to do, is be the mayor of Baltimore, which requires steady focus on reducing problems that this city faces. And I said this early on with a group of developers. I said, you know, homelessness is a major problem in our city, and we've got to focus on how we get people up out of the streets. And I told them, I said, here's a model for how you do that. Fast forward 1 year later, I said, we've got to build homes for the homeless. And while we were not able to really put that together as a group, what we've created is a $20 million affordable housing trust fund. Because we have to think about homelessness as if we were thinking about ourselves. What would you want if you were laying on the streets of our city? And people want a place that they can lay their head, they can get up, they can take a shower, and then at the same time focus on how they get through the next day, and then services to provide mental health, drug addiction treatment, job training, and all of the things that are necessary to get a person back into becoming a productive member of our community. And so, yes, we are trending downwards, and the Violence Reduction Initiative that I created is being studied by Harvard University, because I said one day, what would it be like to put all of the agencies that impact violence in the same room? Would it make a change? And so we've done that, and on November the 1st, actually, we passed our 1 year. And in some areas, the 7 areas of the city that we focused on, crime was down some 30–40%. And so we know that we can take it down further, but I believe that getting the right police chief will have an impact on doing that. But at the same time, it's about increasing the number of police officers who serve our city. We've not had 2,800 police officers in the last 7 years. And the issue becomes, well, how do you get there? And so what we found is when applications aren't online, you're getting 50 applications a month. Now we're getting 60 to 70 applications a week. Our capacity to train is about 240 a year. But if you're training to fill the void of the officers that you don't have and the attrition rate that you currently have, we were losing 200 to 250 police officers a year. So that's almost 300 officers a year. So you have to train for the attrition rate, but you also have to train for the number of officers that you don't have. So what that requires us to do is to expand our training. which is why we're having a conversation with Coppin State University so that we can expand our training and train 350 to 400 officers a year for the next 2 to 3 years so that we can get to the numbers that are needed. Because if we can reduce violence at the level that we've been able to do in those 7 focused areas, imagine if we had the number of officers that we need where we would be today. So I can look at the numbers. I tell people it comes to my phone every single day because everything for me is about technology. So today we're at 290 murders in comparison to 323 the same time last year, down almost 11%. We have 619, and this is unconscionable, you all. People don't have conversations anymore. You know, it's pull out a gun and shoot, no conversations. I said, what goes through the heads of someone who is playing cards in the alley, a crap game in the alley, decides that I'm upset with somebody, I'm gonna go across town, I'll pick up the phone, I'll call my girlfriend and say, bring me my gun, then I'm gonna come all the way back across town and end up dead. Something is wrong with that. So we're down about 6%. And then when we looked at robberies, we're down 15.7%. And burglaries down 27.5%, and aggravated assaults are down 9%. I want to thank the Greater Baltimore Committee. The reason I'm thanking the Greater Baltimore Committee is because when I had a conversation with the executive committee, they said, we need you to focus on reducing violence. We need you to understand how important this is. We need you to know that this is a big problem for all of us as business people, because when the conversations are being had about how we grow and attract businesses, crime is one of the #1 conversations. So how do we get this meeting started? I said, well, why don't I start? So I can tell you where we are, how we got there, and more importantly, where we need to go, and at the end of it, I have an ask. And at the end of that meeting, I said, I need $10 million because I need to start a program called ROCA. I need to expand Safe Streets. What I want you to know is the Greater Baltimore Committee stepped up to the plate. Before I walked out of the room, I had $6 million, and by the end of the week, I had the other 4. I had $10 million. Give the Greater Baltimore Committee a big round of applause. And finally, before I sit down, because I want you to know how important business is to the city, but also how important neighborhoods and communities are to this city. And community is not just about housing. Community is about entertainment. Community is about restaurants. Community is about supermarkets in your neighborhood. And so, you know, I think it was in 1972, we sold our airport, Friendship Airport. We sold it for about I think it was $36 million. And I read a book that talked about the importance of the assets of your city, how you should value them, what you should do with them. And I can't imagine if we had leased that airport some 40 years ago and still retained ownership, what that would mean to Baltimore today. And so I didn't sell the garages that were on the table to be sold, but I did lease them. We raised $80 million. We paid off the debt on those garages, and then we were left with something like $57 million. $3 million will go to Community Development Corporation so that they can grow and rebuild their neighborhoods. Another $2 million will go to associations so that they can do capacity building in their neighborhoods. And then we jump-started what I consider to be a legacy fund, the Neighborhood Investment Fund, $52 million. To invest in neighborhoods and communities that have been underinvested in decades. So if you were to ride down Park Heights Avenue, I think you would see the 60 acres that we've torn down, because boarded up houses have to be torn down in some cases they can be rebuilt. As someone said to me, you need to rethink what vacancy the values is. No, I don't have time to rethink what vacancy the values is, because vacancy the values is what we're trying to do. So why not build on what vacancy the values was doing? And so we're expanding that program, and our goal is to, by next year, we will have knocked down some 4,000 or rebuilt 4,000 houses in this city. We have 16,000 boarded houses in this city. As I asked early on in our administration, how many houses do you expect to tear down? I think the number was 400. I said, I don't have 40 years, because that's what 16,000 looks like, 40 years. 4,000 by next year, and our plan is to build an investment fund of $200 million every year for the next 5 years so that we can reinvest in neighborhoods like Park Heights, like Sandtown, like North Avenue from Hilton to Milton. We can change our city, but it really is how we continue to work together. And while you all hear the noise around violence in our city, I can tell you the nation is hearing something different. You know, crime is a major problem, but it's a major problem in many urban areas across the country. I left Washington, D.C. to talk about how you reinvent and reinvest in cities and how you create a transportation system for your city and urban environments. Yesterday, I was called over to Washington, D.C. to talk about technology and how you build a platform for the future, because those are the kinds of things that we're doing. And so we're being asked all across the country, and I tell people, tell them I said no, because I've got to focus. It's on rebuilding Baltimore, making it the city that we all can be proud of. So, and again, a part of that is making sure that business continues to grow and be a part of the fabric of the future of Baltimore. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
Madam Mayor, thank you for your commitment and thank you for the great work that you do with the business community and others. At this time, let me ask for our guests at the front row to please go down for the award presentation. So, Madam Mayor, if you and Paul will join us down to the bottom for the award presentation, we'll begin. So let's meet and honor today's winners of the 2018 Mayor's Business Recognition Award. First, Christopher Schaefer Clothier. The Sharp Dressed Men program empowers men to improve their lives and provide men in Baltimore who are preparing for work through job training programs with recycled suits for job interviews. The professional presentation program gives men confidence and a professional look as they prepare for their interviews. The program bridges the gap between job development programs that are providing training and the remaining skills and look needed to be considered for a job. Accepting the award for Christopher Schaefer Clothier is Christopher Schaefer, founder. Future Care Health and Management. Future Care Health and Management partnered with Marion House, which offers rehabilitative services and housing to homeless women and their children in an effort to assist their residents with job readiness, employment, and acts of service. Future Care provides Marion House clients with mock interview training for their job searches. In addition, Future Care staff, from its ownership and executives to managers and team members, purchased every item on the holiday wish list of 28 women. Accepting the award for Future Care Health and Management is Holly O'Shea, Vice President. Hotel Revival. Hotel Revival, leading up to its May 9, 2018 grand opening, partnered with the Mayor's Office of Employment Development and Back on My Feet, a nonprofit that works to combat homelessness, in an effort to hire Baltimore City residents for available staff positions. As a result of the targeted recruitment efforts, Hotel Revival hired nearly 100 Baltimore City residents as permanent employees. In addition, the hotel allows local charities to utilize its social spaces at no charge. Accepting the award for Hotel Revival is Beth Brainerd, General Manager. Lexi's Little Bug. Lexi's Little Bug, a children's transportation service, hosted the Evening Among Young Stars Awards, an effort to highlight Baltimore City youth for their hard work and positive strides in their community. Lexi's Little Bug presented 10 awards in partnership with the Youth Educational Services and Neighborhoods United. In total, over 17 children received awards. Accepting the award for Lucy's Little Bug is Erica Jernigan, owner. LifeBridge Health. LifeBridge Health partnered with Park Heights Renaissance to launch the LifeBridge Health Clean and Green team this spring. The team, which consists of 5 crew members and a supervisor, offers landscaping, lawn care, and litter removal, among additional services at no charge. The team has provided services to more than 75 properties in neighborhoods including Park Heights, Pimlico, and Woodbury. Accepting the award for LifeBridge Health is Brian White, Executive Vice President. Loyola University, Maryland. Loyola University of Maryland is addressing food access and insecurity along the York Road corridor, focusing the Govans community in northern Baltimore City in partnership with the York Road Initiative. The university has also worked to create the Govanstown Farmers Market, as well as a corner store program to increase healthy food education, lower the cost of produce, and provide year-round fresh food access. Accepting the award for Loyola University of Maryland is Father Brian Linnane, President. Notre Dame Preparatory School. Notre Dame Preparatory School, through its social service mission, sponsors Camp Umoja, a summer recreational and tutorial camp for Baltimore City youth between the ages of 6 to 12. The camp, which focuses on arts and crafts and tutoring, has offered two-week sessions every summer since 1985. Since its founding, approximately 3,300 campers and 1,650 volunteer camp counselors have been involved. Accepting the award for Notre Dame Preparatory School is the director of Camp Umoja, Steve Poplin. PNC Bank. PNC Bank's Grow Up Great initiative works to help prepare children from birth to ages 5 for success in school and in life. In 2017, PNC announced it could satisfy hundreds of pre-K classroom requests as part of a $5 million grant. That alliance has positively impacted local Head Start programs, including Catholic Charities Head Start of Baltimore. At the Harlem Park site in Sandtown, Winchester, teachers have received play equipment, art supplies, and other materials that enhance the classroom environment and instructor. In addition, PNC funded Maryland Family Network No Child Wet Behind campaign, a diaper drive that provides access to clean diapers for low-income Baltimore City parents. Accepting the award for PNC Bank is Will Backstrom, Senior Vice President, Client and Community Relations Director. RCM&D. RCM&D's annual regatta provides funding, community outreach, and mission support to local nonprofits. Since the regatta was established in 1993, RCM&D has raised more than $1 million for more than 50 nonprofits. The 2018 regatta raised more than $110,000 for 4 nonprofits, 3 of which are headquartered in Baltimore City. The regatta is the culmination of a year-long fundraising community service campaign. The regatta committee consists of more than 35 employees from RCM&D's more than 250 employees. Accepting the award for RCM&D is Skip Councilman, Chief Executive Officer. The Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens partnered with Kaboom, a nonprofit dedicated to ensuring that children have access to great opportunities to play, to build a new playground for children living at the Douglas Homes in East Baltimore. More than 300 children who live at Douglas Homes will be able to use the facility and experience the thrill of climbing a wall, racing down a slide, and crossing the monkey bars. The Ravens recognize the importance of active play in childhood growth and the critical role that play has in developing happy, healthy, and creative kids. Accepting the award for the Baltimore Ravens is Heather Darney, Director of Communications. University of Maryland, Baltimore. University of Maryland, Baltimore's Promise Heights program is a cradle to college and career approach to closing the educational opportunity gap. Promise Heights and 30 nonprofits, 5 Baltimore City public schools, and faith-based institutions work to build a pipeline of wraparound services for students to ensure pathways out of poverty for youth and their family. The program aims to increase pregnant women's access to resources and services that have potential to improve birth and infant outcomes through parent education on topics such as safe sleep, smoking cessation, and household safety. As a result, Uptown Druid Hills is celebrating more than 4 years without a sleep-related death. Accepting the award for University of Maryland, Baltimore is Dr. Jay Perman, President. WBAL TV 11. WPAL TV 11 employees participated in a day of service at Believe in Tomorrow's Children's House at Johns Hopkins, which provides housing for children receiving treatment and Johns Hopkins Children's Center. WBL-TV 11 volunteers prepared meals, organized supplies, and participated in recreational activities with the children. They also packaged carry-out meals for families, performed housekeeping tasks, and participated in storytelling with the patients. Accepting the award for WBL-TV 11 is Dan Jarris, President and General Manager. If you would, please join me in saluting all of today's winners for their great work in the community. There's a very significant program that Baltimore City and many of the business community involved in that we would urge you to participate. At this time, I'll turn the podium back over to Mayor Pugh to talk about that challenge.
So last year, we put nearly 9,000 young people to work last summer. And what you all were able to do was to help them get their first work experience. In fact, we held the first jobs fair for young people coming out of high school. And I can tell you, your work, working with those young people, make a difference. So I'm here to ask you again for your support to make sure that we help those young people to work this summer. 9,000 young people, and you all know we used to average 5,000. Last year, 12,000 young people applied to work, which meant that 3,000 young people didn't get to work. The other thing you should know is that we made Baltimore City Community College free. And when we made Baltimore City Community College free, the children jumped at the opportunity. And then Coppin State University said, if you finish there, you can come there for free. And you know now Johns Hopkins has $1.9 billion, which will also help our young people to go there as well. Morgan State University, another $5 million, and we have scholarships all over this city helping our young people. But getting them to work is really, really important. So I'm asking you again for your support, because what we also did for those young people who were not really ready for community college, there were about 400, we were able to help them earn while they learn. So that summer, this past summer, they went to remedial classes through the Youth Works program and were prepared to enter community college. So I stop by again to say thank you for that effort, but more importantly, thank you for this summer's effort. Thank you.
Greater Baltimore community is proud to be a part of that Youth Works program and thank the mayor for all the support that she provides that. What a tremendous group of civic leaders who are committed to the well-being of our city that we have before us. To each of the recipients, congratulations for a job well done. Today we salute your contributions and thank you for your efforts to make a difference in making Baltimore a better place to live and work. I would ask you to join the mayor and others for a group picture immediately after this program. To Mayor Pugh, Bill Cole, Augie Shashera, and the team at Baltimore Development Corporation, thank you for joining with the Greater Baltimore Committee and recognize the importance of these efforts in honoring such civic participation and involvement. A special thanks goes to Lisa Bird, GBC Director of Events and Business Development, for her work in organizing today's event, and to the GBC staff for its assistance in the logistics of today's program. To those of you in attendance, I urge you and your company to follow the example of business leadership that you saw today and to get involved. If you don't know how to get involved, please feel free to contact us at the Greater Baltimore Committee. We'll work with you to become active with the GBC and also the community at large. We thank you for attending. We'll see you again next year and hope that you are one of those many businesses that we recognize for your civic contribution and leadership. And finally, let me be one of the first to extend best wishes to each of you and your families for a safe and happy holiday season and a healthy and prosperous new year. Thank you for coming. Appreciate your attendance. Thank you.